Today I fucked up by asking my girlfriend's mother what smells like fish. So yesterday, I was downstairs at my girlfriend's house, and I happened to walk by the living room, and it smelled like potent dead fish. My first thought was that the only female dog there had to have her thing washed, which is regular for her. So I naturally exclaimed, "What smells like fish over here? It stinks." My girlfriend's mom then looked at me, embarrassed, and walked away. Later that day, my girlfriend told me that her mom ended up crying because of what I said, and it turned out she was having lady problems with the meds she was taking. I must have apologized maybe 15 times, and I felt so horrible after that I don't even make eye contact with her. Too long didn't read, said what smells like fish over here when my girlfriend's mom was having lady problems. Shove fish in pants, show solidarity. Ouch. Something similar happened to me. I was in class and all of a sudden it started smelling really bad, like garbage, like a literal bin. I assumed someone left something under the desk or STH, but I couldn't find anything and the smell was getting unbearable. So I asked my desk mate, "Do you smell garbage or STH like that?" And she said no, and I insisted with, "Really? It's so strong, how come you don't smell it? Is it just near my side?" "But what is it?" So I let it go and later find out my desk mate was on her period and needed to change her pad which she had on for some hours. Felt so bad after that. I never asked about any smells ever again. When I was in high school, half the female student body refused to look after their personal hygiene during the time of the month, so the restrooms and sometimes the classes that happened later in the day always smelled like fish. Some girls would walk around wearing the same menstrual pad for 8 to 10 hours. I gagged and dry heaved every time I had to use the restroom because the smell was so putrid. It got so bad that 2 of the female science teachers sat all the girls down in the gym and gave us a lecture on the importance of feminine hygiene. I know periods suck because I get them, but at the same time, having your monthly cycle is definitely not the time to practice poor hygiene. I wish I could say things got better, but they didn't. Some girls still continued to not clean themselves. I would never recover from that. That'd be something I remember for the next 20 years every time I go to the bathroom or see a fish. I asked a lady I knew if she was pregnant. I was maybe 8. She wasn't. She left the room crying. I still remember this many years later and refused to bring up pregnancy first. Tell her you like the taste of fish. Make cake to fix it. A cake in the shape of a fish. Today I fucked up by accidentally misplacing my speakers many years ago and discovering today that my brain has been deceiving me all this time. Found out about this today, but it has been happening for years apparently. So, some time ago, several years, I had set my PC up as usual, nothing wrong, plugged in the speakers, ready to go. Fast forward of my happily playing video games for years. And here we are today. I was reconnecting my speakers, and the settings screen popped up which I usually just skip, but today I, for some reason, decided to press the test sound button. And my brother, who was in the room with me, he always plays with headphones on, noticed that, surprisingly, when I pressed on the left speaker, the sound was coming out of the right one, and vice versa. But wait, I thought to myself, that's some kind of an error because in games everything is completely fine. Or so I thought, rather. I thought that it was some kind of malfunction, but my brother insisted that the speakers were messed up, so we decided to conduct an experiment. We hopped into an FPS game to test this theory. The experiment, my brother would sit at the computer, and I would stand behind him. Then, he, in-game, would take out a grenade and throw it left or right and then turn away from it. I, with my eyes closed, would have to say where the sound comes from. And of course, my brother was right. I told all the sound from the opposite directions of the grenade explosion with my eyes closed. So, my speakers were indeed swapped. But that's where the strange goes. If I open my eyes, and if I see the grenade being thrown to the left, then I would hear the explosion from the left, crystal clear, and the same with the right side. But should I close my eyes, and have someone else throw the grenade, I would hear it from the opposite direction every time. What the heck? So, apparently, my brain has somehow managed to adapt to misplaced speakers, and now my visual information dominates over my auditory. What kind of long-standing consequences could this have? What else has my brain been lying to me about that I don't know of yet? What's interesting to me is how, if I have a clear visual cue regarding the origin of the sound, then I hear it clearly from the proper side and position. No visual information though, and this feature somehow gets disabled and I can't tell the direction properly anymore, and hear the sound from the completely opposite direction. So there's that. Thank you, brain. Too long didn't read, misplaced my speakers many years ago, and found out today that it has led to my wrongly interpreting sounds when I have no visual cue, due to the misplaced speakers, but if I have the cue, my brain makes it so that I hear the sound from the proper direction even if it comes from somewhere else entirely. This is less like a FU and more like an interesting phenomenon. This is how new discoveries are made in science. Happy accident. And you even did a rudimentary experiment with control, eyes closed. This is the most interesting thing I will read on Reddit today. Yeah, I swapped my speakers back to normal positions, and now I'm completely confused. Sometimes the sound comes even from behind and sometimes as it should. So my brain will supposedly need time to adapt back. Wasn't there a study done where people were given glasses to make them see upside down? Eventually, their brains switched it so they saw normally with the glasses on but upside down when they were taken off. Edit. Apparently it's more of an adjustment and the brain doesn't flip the upside down image right side up, but rather, the brain eventually, like a week, gets used to it so activities can be done without feeling clumsy. I am deaf in my right ear. I have hearing aids to compensate. The one in the right ear is basically a transmitter that sends sound to the one in the left ear. Left ear hears normal. It was confusing when I first got them because I would look left even though the sound was from the right. Didn't take long to adapt and now when someone on my right speaks to me I will actually respond. People used to think I was rude by ignoring them. People never realize how powerful their mind is. This is a great example of that. What's more intriguing is that this stuff happens completely subconsciously, as if our brain is a computer which automatically figures out how to adapt to the environment, and we're just its users. Today I fucked up by calling a colleague a masturbator analyst on a Teams meeting. Literally under an hour ago and I'm still shivering when I think of it. His position is master data analyst. I was referring to him on Teams when it came out. Masturbator analyst. I was running the meeting and was the main presenter to a group of around 30 odd people. I'm super anxious on a good day so I've been worrying about it all weekend. Anyway, around 20 or so minutes in, I refer to this guy and as I say his job title, for some insane reason, masturbator slips out of my mouth. I could hear it come out but it was too late. I was in far too deep. I had to just commit and end it with the analyst part of the title. Everyone caught it, there's no doubt about that. I saw a couple wide eyes when I said it, then smirks after it. Instead of owning up and laughing it off, my awkward ass decided to just pretend it never happened. So did everyone else. But they all knew. Too long didn't read. I called a colleague a masturbator analyst by mistake on a Teams meeting, then awkwardly pretended like it didn't happen. Everyone knew but said nothing. I'm waiting for the masturbator analyst jokes. Masturbator analyst, I think you deserve a 15-minute break. Just turn off your webcam. Righty. Own it, it's funny AF, honest mistake. You're only human. We all make mistakes. We might as well accept that and allow ourselves to laugh about the few funny crumbs this life throws our way. Make sure to talk to your colleague afterwards to establish this as a new running gag between you two. Offer a hilarious variation of your job title as gift of exchange. That is fantastic. I applaud those 30 odd people for not laughing hysterically because I just did the entire time I'm reading this. But I laugh at my own farts still, so, woman shrugging. You should update this when you find out what your new nickname is. Honestly, whoever came up with master data needs a telling off. Forget people tripping on their tongue, it's a bad Zoom connection away from masturbator at the best of times. Also, master bakers, at the top of their game in the baking world, smiley face.